Talk to me about the reactions you were getting from clients when you started sending them these reports a couple of years back.
Well, the first one I sent a couple of years back, I mean, she's just like, this is so cool. It was in January, because we were playing around with it.
Yeah.
And went out and took some pictures and came back and put a proposal together. And I sold it right away. She was just like, I mean, because most people are visual.
Thank you for doing this, Mary Ellen. I really appreciate it. Can you kick this off by sharing with everyone what you do here at Level Green?
Sure. My name's Mary Ellen Burton. I'm an account manager at Level Green Landscaping. I'm a customer relations person, manager, manage jobs and properties, approximately 55 or 54 of them, over probably 30 clients. And it's my job to make their properties look better. So I do everything from their maintenance renewals to managing their property during maintenance issues, whether it's turf apps and flower, seasonal flower, budgeting. I help them with their budgets. Of course, I help with improvements to their property and selling enhancements, which is where the SiteRecon Play-Doh really falls in place for me. And build relationships. That's what it's about. Being credible and earning, their respect, and so that I can make their jobs easier, which makes my job easier, because if they like what we do, it's a win-win for everybody. So that's basically what I do.
Steward of the property.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Absolutely.
How many properties do you manage?
Right now, I think I'm at 54 or 55.
Wow.
Right around there. So. And
what's the total book of business?
It's different depending on different needs of, like in DC, they're all smaller, more hands-on. Here, they might be bigger. Mine's probably $1 million, $2 million, $1 million.
Got you.
Something around there. And then, of course, we sell enhancements on top of that.
Got you.
Additional work, because that's like any landscape company, that's your bread and butter.
100%.
Yeah.
That's how you get the margins.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. Makes sense. So when you think about visiting properties, are you thinking about it like how many times I'll do once every property every month, or you're?
Well, I try to do every property every month. Some I do every week, or because every other week. Some there's not a lot of hands-on. They're really just mow, blow, and you go. They don't spend any extra money, so those type of jobs I don't visit as frequently. And then there's a need base. If a shopping center has an event coming up, I might be a little more hands-on. So I generally book my calendar out 2 or 3 weeks. And on my days when I'm in the office, it's usually Tuesdays and Thursdays, I try to go visit as many as I can, and I have that little route, because part of my jobs are on one side of the Beltway and part are on the other. So I kind of divide those up and conquer, and just try to do drive-bys. I will say that our teams are excellent. We have very low turnover, and my guys, they're a lot of times my eyes. So I may not visit all of the sites all of the time or as much as I want to. They do, because they're out there watching the teams. And from the ops manager level, they'll send me photos, but their teams, the teams that are actually doing the work, they really recognize when they see something like a down tree or ruts or something's dying. I get random pictures on my phone. I got 2 or 3 of them yesterday. One was, this area is not ours, but it looks really bad. And they know it's the county. So they took pictures of it, sent it to me. I got with the client, and the client said, yeah, mow it. I don't care if it's the county, mow it. So I wasn't right on that site, but I had eyes that were on that site. So
very cool.
That helps.
Very cool. So you kind of tag team with your production manager to manage what's going on. And then your target is like be on as many sites as you can. And then, of course, the more important ones, you do those more frequently.
Yes.
Very interesting. The division of routes, was it accidental or was it like planned when you got your 50 something accounts?
Well, I don't know. Everything's pretty planned.
Pretty planned, right? Yeah. Hey,
everything is pretty planned. This is what we do. So we try to be as, have our routes as dense as possible.
Right.
You might have a few outliers.
Right.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
Or you may have a client, there's another account manager here that has some jobs kind of in my area, but his client wants one account manager. So he handles all of that. So he's a little more spread out, a little bit bigger jobs, not as many maybe. So it's kind of it's a mix of what the client and a mix of density, trying to.
Very interesting. This is a question I have for Adam as well, because it's almost like the sites that the sales team will acquire will inform the routing efficiency for account managers, production managers, and the crew. I wonder how tightly he plans it on basis of the routes and then goes after.
I can't speak for Adam, but I know that in his sales, which he's awesome, when he has a lead or, is developing a lead and has a prospect for bidding a job, he's communicating with our branch manager about that job. I mean, they work together on that. A lot of times I've gone to meet with the clients because the clients want to see an account manager or see the branch manager, want to know that we can handle the job, so all those things are discussed when we're bidding it, like what ifs, so, of course we want this job, know, and what if when we get this job, how are we going to do, can we, we have the need, all the material and the equipment and everything to handle it. So it's all a conversation.
Got you. Very interesting. Is there a certain kind of job that you look forward to that should like your ideal client? I mean, of course, behaviorally is one thing.
It's really
right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm different in some ways, but I don't think I'm that different from any other account manager. Of course, there's, I like commercial and retail.
Yeah.
But that's not to say I don't have an HOA where I really have a good relationship. It's all about relationships. So some may be a little bit more challenging. HOAs and churches may be a little bit more challenging relationships to build because you're building them with more people involved.
Right.
Where a property manager at a commercial building or at a retail site, it's more one-on-one. So it's easier to build that relationship, So I have some I like and some I don't. But you do what you do and you try to, build good relationships and good policies and be as transparent on the jobs as we can so that we have good documentation. And that's where I really like SiteRecon, because it's allowing Level Green to have historical documentation for properties so that when people come and go, get promoted, whatever, it's an easier transition from one team member to another.
100%. Because
property sells.
Exactly. Managers change. Let's go back to how were you doing things before this rolled out for you? I think you started using it before the rest of the team, right?
Oh, yeah. As soon as I realized that you could pin a location, I was like, I got this. Before, actually, I was using my phone and email. I mean, I'm taking pictures and emailing them to myself so that when I got home, I would have those emails of the photographs and then my notes, my little hand notes. And I'd go home and, or go to the office and do my little thing and put the stuff together. Where this has totally eliminated that. It's, you get on site, you open the app up. I've put a lot of little abbreviations on the names so I can find them fast. I'll have a little 3-letter abbreviation at the end. So when I get to the property, I can just type that in.
Nice.
Sometimes it tells you you're right there.
Right.
But sometimes when you're around a lot, it doesn't. So, and then I'll go in and I'll start a site visit and I'll just go around and do my assessment of, and generally my assessment on a site visit is not just always geared at selling or making enhancements. It's also geared at information I give to the client that will help them, whether it's a car that's been parked there for a long time because maybe they're never on site, or it's rubber tires, they've dumped tires or something. May not necessarily be our work, but I like to be able to notify our clients of that. And then it will be also areas where I can notify our team, hey, next time you go here, here's this location, can you please go take care of this? And then it'll be, oh, wow, we could improve this area. So I'll go to that area and pin it and do that area. But I'm not sending myself an email because when you're done, and by the time I, drive down the road, there's a little notice in my email that says, here's your site report. So when I get home, I have all those. And then that's generally what generates my work for the next day when I'm working remotely. So I'm going around doing all these site inspections and site visits. And then the next day when I'm working remotely or in the office, I'm opening them all those up and going, oh, wow, yeah. So, and it has the ability, because you can put the notes in there. So a lot of times I will, talk and text and I'll say this area is 10 foot by 3 feet and it needs 25 Lariape, blah, 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 blah. And then when I'm ready to do that enhancement, all my information is there. It's not on a pad of paper. Where'd that pad of paper go? Or I got to go download that photo. Yeah. The photos are there. And I like that when you take the photos, you have the little pen capability. Because a lot of times I'm like, this tree limb is dead. We should take it down. I'll take the little photo and draw a little circle around it. And I will print those out in a PDF and then I'll attach them to the opportunity so that when we get the work and our team goes out, they have that information too. So that works really well. I know our enhancement manager really likes the detail in it because they know exactly where to go. When it shows the map and says it's item number 2, and item number 2 is here, and you go over there, and there it is. So it's very, very helpful.
Very nice. So when you're back in the office next day, you talked about a few activities, right? Sharing with your team, like exactly how are you sharing this? Are you just forwarding them that PDF? Are you?
Well, right now I'm just forwarding them the PDF when I get back. We are getting them logged on slowly, so that they have their own user access. But right now or sometimes I don't want to send them the whole PDF. I just open it up, clip at the picture and say, hey, I need you to take care of this. We also can, in our system that we use for work tickets, we can put in what we call an issue. So I can put it in an issue and notify them that way too.
Got you.
Where I know you can do that in SiteRecon, we just haven't really gotten to that level yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's a matter of where people are living for that specific ticket issue workflow. So that totally makes sense that it goes back to your other system. And then, so you take a photo, you give this to either the enhancement manager or the production manager, and this goes to the crew then. And is it something that sort of gets discussed like, oh, you're going to visit this property today?
Well, if it's going to go to the crew, if it's something that they're just going to take care of, something like trim some bushes or do something that's in the maintenance contract, it will kind of go the way you just explained. If it's something that the client is actually going to have us do the work for, then I actually PDF that report and I attach it to the work ticket. So when the team gets out, they can see that. They can see that whole report.
Understood.
And then so they have, more backup information. Not to say that their operations manager and the enhancement manager, they're going to go over it with them probably anyway prior to going out. But we like to tag it to the opportunity just for historical and, and for the client.
Makes sense. The workflows that you are executing here then, so you're out there looking at the property, you're looking at quality, you're looking at stuff that the property manager should be aware about, right? Like just what's happening there, right? His eyes and ears. You're also doing like an inventory there of, let's say, flowers and trees.
Yeah, I also use SiteRecon in addition to using it for site visits, use it for flower location and turf renovations. So I went out last fall to the jobs and where they have turf renovations in the fall already sold or going to sell them, and went out and looked at areas that I thought needed to be reseeded or aerated, and I would go stand there, pin it, say the areas, and then come back and then tag that to the job, so that when our teams go out, typically you don't aerate and seed or do turf renovation on the whole property. It's pretty costly. They'll do it on like 50% or whatever, so you pick areas. So I used it for maps, which will be helpful this year because I can go back to last year and see what we did last year, and then go back out and visit the site and see how they did and see if they need a little touch up or pick some other areas. So I use it for the turf and for flower locations.
Very cool. And for flowers, so you mark all the places that have that where the seasonal color needs to go, and then that gets passed on to the
Team.
Installation crew. Okay.
And also, when I did flowers last year, I tried a lot, and I did do some of it. So I would go out and say flowers 2023 and go out and stand where all the flowers are and take a picture of them in May, and then go back in July and stand and take a picture, and try to get some progression of what they look like. Or,
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
Very cool. How do the clients, as you showing all this work? This work is going to the client every time, right?
Well, not every time. Sometimes I'm not sending this. I'm using the site visit just to make a proposal.
Yeah.
And I'll clip the pictures that I need and the information, and I'll put it in the proposal. Sometimes I will send it to the client, and sometimes it's just for our internal, want them to go do something.
Gotcha.
But the clients, all the clients that I work with that get these additional site visit reports, they like them. They get a property service report from our regular guys every week when they go, which is a little different. This is more, detailed and can be more focused just on one area or the whole property. So based on their needs and what they want.
Very cool. Very cool. So you're sort of relaying your work back to the conversations that you are having with the clients. And then the service report is something that was like, base contract that was signed. That's going separately to them.
Yes, that goes every time that we go out. When they put their time in, they mowed, they waited, they did blah, 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 blah. And that goes just to let the client know they were there. I can't keep up with 55 jobs every week, when they're mowing.
Right.
So they get that report that says we were on site. This gives them more. It's like you said, it's their eyes.
Yeah.
A lot of my clients never get to their jobs. I have some clients that'll say, hey, you want me to go out and, look at it for you? And they'll say, sure. And I'll go out, take pictures and, and do the little site visit and send it to them.
Where are they? Are they sitting like in a corporate office somewhere else?
Well, I have some clients I've never really met in person for 4 years, because they might be in Pennsylvania or they might be somewhere else, and they maybe have an engineer on site and he's hard to get a hold of, and maybe minimal landscaping, or I have some that are like in Annapolis, some that are in Rockville, their offices, so it's hard for them to come out, so more of a challenge for them to come out this way. So, and some are right in their office, and it's easy for me to stop by and, say hello.
Right.
But they're not all like that.
Right. Wow. Okay. I always had this impression that property managers are either on site or they're around to at least visit.
Some property managers manage multiple properties too.
Yeah. New to the industry, right? So.
Yeah. Well, and 2 of my properties on my 54 proproperties consist of 24 buildings.
I see.
So more than 55 buildings.
Yeah. I see. Oh, that's a lot of work.
But I probably have, I don't know, I think David told me the other day, I've never really sat down yet. I probably have maybe 30 clients because some have multiple properties.
Right. Very cool. So talk to me about the reactions you were getting from clients when you started sending them these reports a couple of years back.
Well, the first one I sent a couple of years back, I mean, she's just like, this is so cool. And it was in January, because we were playing around with it.
Yeah.
And went out and took some pictures and came back and put a proposal together. And I sold it right away. She was just like, I mean, because most people are visual.
Yeah.
And when you can, and a lot of people, I just send it to them and say, here it is. You know the deal. Email back approved or sign it and returned. And a lot of them just go approved. So you always love those. I have some that, will look at it and then they'll say, oh, can you tweak this or tweak that? Or I didn't know this was like that. But I mean, I haven't had anybody not like it. I mean, I think every client that I did one at this shopping center that we will go to later. Like I said, it has like a T and a fountain in the middle. And these little main roads have old trees that have been in there for like 20 years. And I've been trying to get them to get the trees out. So I went and did every single tree and pinned every single tree and took photos of every single tree. Yes, he's the property manager. I gave him the proposal, but he's not the end all be all of who's going to say gets it.
Yeah.
There's somebody sitting up in Schenectady or wherever, So to be able to send the report that really shows these poor trees and what needs to be done, he's not really presenting it until I think another week or so, because I think he sent it to them and they're coming into town to look at it. So, and whether that prompted it or not, but it does say a lot about Level Green and that we're staying up with the times. It's phenomenal to me. It's just been a game changer to me. It's helped me be a better salesperson.
Very cool. I guess it's making the visual part of it is making your communications very tangible. Like you were saying, some guys are not there, they can't see it. And then the communication on like what needs to happen sort of needs to be backed up by stuff that people can relate to. And so this thought, the importance or the urgency, either of the two, just crystallizes way faster if they can see it like you saw it. And I think that bridges the gap.
Yes, and I think also one of the big things that I really like about it is, like I said, I have a lot of jobs and I do things in packets in my head and I put this together and I can see it. And SiteRecon, Plato helps me see it, helps me put it on the proposal to see it. Well, the client may not have the money for it this year. So I'll move it on. I help them with their budgets. I'll move it on their budget for next year. Well, when I go into it next year and I pull it up and I look at it, I see it again. It's all right there. So, and it really didn't matter if it was me looking at it or somebody else, because when we put our proposals together and you put them together in that format, you're not only putting them together for the client to see, you're putting them together that you hopefully are going to sell it and for your team to see. Yeah. So that it just is a lot less communication there and getting it done correctly because your team, again, is seeing what you're seeing. So it's just full circle.
Full circle, exactly. And then obviously if the property moves on from you to another account manager, the catalog of opportunities is all there.
Yeah, the visibility, and the historical information, it's there. So
I mean, it's almost like you have this constant role as a salesperson to be generating opportunities. And the fundamental part of generating an opportunity is being able to capture what needs to happen. The property manager to appreciate, oh, I get it. Now, when he will approve it, do it, is totally up to him. But then the opportunity got created because he got it.
Yep. Yeah, and it can go on his budget or his future planning. I mean, it's our job as account managers and for, as Level Green to make their properties look better year over year over year. And that's what I tell my clients. That's our job. We want your property to look better. Well, in order for it to look better, these are some things that you can do, and here are ideals of things that you can do. And if you like them, let's put them on a planning budget. And now, I'm getting clients that are coming back because we've been doing that. I've been doing the SiteRecon now for 2 years? Yeah. So, I mean, I'm selling things now that I did 2 years ago. because they didn't have money for it. But because of SiteRecon, I went out and said, I can visualize this faster.
Right.
It's much faster for me to visualize it and put it on paper for them to visualize it than to say, oh, I'll do it when I have time to sit down and do a design or whatever. So, because I can take the picture and just take the little X or whatever and say, we're going to take this out and put this here. As long as they can visualize it, they don't all need landscape designs. So
yeah, makes sense. How do you think the property managers are organizing this information at their end? Like, are they thinking about, which ones will make the property look good? Which ones will take care of the plants? Like, how do they make the decision at their end?
I think some of them have a little bit of a clue, and some of them have a lot of a clue.
Yeah.
So again, it's our job as account managers to try to find out from them, what pain levels they have in their property, because sometimes they have to spend money on things that don't look pretty, drainage or seeding or whatever, where they maybe would rather spend it on flowers. So you got to kind of try to balance that. I have clients that will tell me their budgets. I'm meeting with one this Friday, and she tells me her budget. So I know what she has left on her 4 properties for the rest of the year. And I'll go to her Friday, and I've already done some of it. I'll say, this is where I would spend the money. And then we sit down, we have a conversation as to what maybe her expectations are. I know a lot of them now because I've been here for a while. But somebody even coming in and looking at it, they could probably glean some of that from what's in our system of past proposals of what was important to them. Because I'm not just going to throw proposals out.
Yeah.
I want to work with them to plan and get their budgets and know what money they have to spend. Because I don't want, we're not just, that's our job.
Exactly.
I mean, of course, it's our job to sell, but it's our job to make the property look better. And you can't make the property look better if you don't do more than basic maintenance.
Right.
So.
Maximum impact.
Yeah, get the most bang for your buck. So, and some customers want that. So, you keep that in mind when you're designing. And I think a lot of people do it. I know I do a lot. I give a lot of options, bundles. Hey, if you do it all now, you can get this bundle,
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's almost like creating a menu of, items to choose from when you're thinking about improving property. Decision making becomes simpler because you're doing just a better job of picking out what is good for your property if you just looking at all possible options. Otherwise, in isolation, it's like, what else could I have done? Did I spend the money right? But just when there are options and your ability to actually create options goes up significantly when you have a tool like that. So you can just here's everything you could do, or stuff that you could do that's going to significantly improve the property, and then they can choose. And it's even the return on investment logic in their head has something of a reference point, the stuff that they didn't do, so stuff that mattered, and suddenly it feels like a better decision.
Yeah. Well, I try to balance it out. I mean, there's some things people don't like to rejuvenate, prune. I mean, it's like you're spending money to go out and cut shrubs back. I don't want to cut them back. Once you can explain to them that will help the longevity, give you more money to spend on other things, and all of that. And then when you're working on properties, every property pretty much has a palette of plants, existing plants. And so if you want to incorporate something new, you got to have a conversation, see what the plan is to incorporate that and take something out, because just like trends, things change. And a lot of our landscaping around the metropolitan Washington area is 20 years old, and it needs change. It's old and big and not meant to live there forever.
Right.
So you work on areas.
Yeah, makes sense. I've noticed when account managers actually put that effort in, like you were describing, you can tell the difference while just when you enter the parking lot and you drive past that monument sign, and it's like, something's going on here. Good job.
Yeah.
And so is that how you also feel like?
I do. I have a couple jobs I really like because they invest in their properties.
Yeah.
And then I have ones that clients just, to them, landscaping's not a big deal, and they don't invest in it. And, you try to make it look as good as you can and give them the value that they're paying for, give them the services that they're paying for, but also have to educate them that that's what they're getting. So
Right. Because
it's a mixed bag.
got you. Do you do like active communication with them on how the landscape could improve real estate value?
I don't really honestly can say I've ever had that conversation
Got you.
because I don't look at them for selling their properties.
Right. Or
Though they sell them, yeah. I mean, I have had conversations of, you have a nice landscape. People want to be here. People want to shop here. One of my shopping centers every year, gets compliments of how pretty it is from people in the neighborhood and stuff because they spend some money. And then I have a shopping center that doesn't spend any money, and that's what it is. It's a shopping
center is a no-brainer, like, because if people like to come there and just...
Yeah, but there's a lot of abuse in shopping centers, wear and tear, foot traffic, paths, a lot of things going on, trash.
Yeah.
Homeless people, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things going on that you don't have control over.
I see.
So then you have to change your vision or change the vision you're trying to sell to the client that, we need to do some work here, that, these are some things that you could do over the years. Can we start phasing some of those in? Because if you don't phase them in, just like, a stitch in time saves 9, you don't phase them in, all of a sudden, you have a big nut or something, a lot of money to spend to get it looking decent. And then again, you're not gonna get the traffic.
Right. I guess that proactiveness is something I was relating back to when you have a lot of a way to sort of look at a property, stack those opportunities together, and then present that, okay, here are the phases. Not only you are proactive, they can be proactive as well with their stuff. So
that's if they're proactive. Some aren't.
It's a...
Like I said, I have one client that's I'll meet with the owner, we walk around, we get his feelings of what he wants to do. We have a budget, we have a plan, and then I have some others that, we don't have any money to spend this year. They don't have time to go walk around or whatever. So you want to, again, try to be their eyes for them, because maybe they're not on the property that much. It's, it's not their highest concern. And you want to try to, upsell a little bit so that they have some change.
Right.
Because no change is still a choice. I tell my clients, you don't change, it's still a choice.
Yeah. Talk to me about the habit of being on a property and remembering, oh, you have to click a photo, take a note, do this, create a report. Like, how did you get into this rhythm?
Well, I think once your properties are set up, you're ready to go. Once you get on a property, before I get out of my car, I just find the property and I start a new layer site visit. And then I just start walking around and taking pictures. And generally, I try not to take more than 2 or 3 because it can take a little bit of time. But generally, from the time I take the 2 or 3 and tag it and it's uploading, I'm on to the next place I'm walking around,
Yeah.
So it's easy. I mean, it's not difficult. It's a habit. I mean, it's just like anything. Once you use it a couple times, you get very comfortable with it. Yeah. It's hard. It's not something that I do with the client very often because they don't want to wait while I'm typing in information or whatever. Yeah. So a lot of times with a client, I'm opening one and I'm putting a bunch of notes.
Yeah.
And then I'm taking a bunch of pictures, then I'm going back and putting them, because you can put the pictures in on your desktop.
Right.
And then, or a lot of times after the client leaves, I'll take 10 minutes and just while it's all still fresh in my mind and go walk around and put the notes in of what they said. And then I'll send them that report and say, this is a follow-up. But I don't usually, I want to be present with my client. I'm not doing a site visit with my client.
Makes sense. It's almost like you had this framework in mind where it just went and slotted itself in. Like this process of using a new technology was almost like you replaced something that you were doing before with this. That's why you didn't feel like there's a lot of change happening.
Well, because the change that happened to me was easier than what I was doing before. So it was easy to get excited about it.
Yeah.
And to say, oh, what can I do now? Oh, I can do this. Oh, I can export it. Oh, I can use it for flowers. Oh, I can use it for turf. I can, you start thinking of I use it for snow maps. You can use it. There's a lot of things that I really probably haven't touched on, and still a lot I can learn on. But like using it for replacements for a client, it's awesome because it shows them where everything is that needs to be replaced. And then you come back and you can export it, like I said, and make some little tweaks to the Excel, and you can put your price together really fast. And then when you win it, the team knows exactly where to go.
Exactly.
And what to do. So it's really a no-brainer.
Saving a lot of cycles downstream.
Well, it not only saves time, but I really truly believe my sales have increased because of this, because this allows me to put something together faster and be really, get it to the client, meet with the client, go home the next day and have it to them that afternoon when I get home or the next day, because I've already pretty much formulated it in the report. All I got to do is put the pictures and cut and paste it and say, this is what I'm going to do, and put the estimate in. And that's the easy part. It's the formulating it part when you're doing it. So when you have that already in your report, you want to take out this tree and you want to replace this tree and you want to prune this tree, and you get back and put all that together, it makes it a lot easier to estimate it.
Yeah. Can we have a look at one of your reports?
One of my reports?
Yeah.
Sure. When I can look at Bowie Town Center, which is
the one you have on the desk.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this one is.
Just bring the camera over.
Yeah, I don't know because I laminated it. It might be shiny.
That's all right.
So this is a shopping center that we've had. That's a portfolio client.
Got you.
And every year I sit down with her and I do a PowerPoint because she has planters and she has quite a few locations around the shopping center where flowers go. So she has 24 planters, and you can see we crossed out this Bachelorette red and I went with Miss Miami.
I see.
Because by the time she approved it, they were already sold out of that one. So I had to go back and update it. And I crossed out this one and went with the rose. But this is a list of her planters. And then I do a matrix of
combination,
how they plant them. So our team knows how to plant them. And then these are more planters that she has. And then this is a list of all the flowers and all the locations on a corner circle, a corner by racetrack, the BOA entrance, Bank of America entrance, and all the quantities. But this is what I did new this year was it's a little small here, but she wanted a map of where everything was. So I went around and did the map in the SiteRecon, and I stood at every location. And then I came back and I pinned them all, and then I put the notes in, like at the shoe shop, there's 105 4-inch. And at the planter by Duncan, there's, 7 4-inch pots in each of the planters and that kind of stuff. So this right here is laminated because we're going to be putting these in next week. And this will go to the crew so that they have it there. And then it also has so when the flowers come in, they know what's coming off the truck.
Right.
So that refers to when I said flower locations. Now my goal would be this year to go around to those flower locations on that same report in SiteRecon and take pictures right when they're put in. So we have the history of what it looked like when they were installed, and then go back, because this shopping center, for example, is very notorious for when we put them in. The next day we go and they're gone because somebody wants them for their yard.
Oh, really? They got stolen? Oh my God. Oh, that's great.
So I like to, have photos and a photo, whether it's a photo when you put it in or a photo, it
before it got stolen.
It tells a story. Just like on our snow maps, to have photos of parking lots and things like that. And they'll say, well, you broke that, car stop or whatever. And you're like, no, there's a photo of it.
Yeah, exactly.
They help. So
validate what you're saying.
Yeah.
Very cool. So there are people out there who, I don't know why, but maybe because, they don't do this, right?
I think they're just intimidated by it, maybe. Like anything new. If you're intimidated by, putting your Fire Stick on your TV or whatever, once you put it on there and know how it works, it's pretty great,
Exactly.
Or hooking it up or whatever. Once you get the SiteRecon, on your phone, or the Play-Doh on your phone, and you get it on your laptop and you do it a couple times, you see the value in it. It gets you excited. And I think we had more people on our list using it this week than last week. So I think more and more people are using it.
Right. When you spoke to your team, because you, I think, were the first one to use it in the account management team.
Well, I talked to the business developer and they were using it. And I was like, well, why can't I? I was like, I could do this. I could do that. So I don't know that they really, when it initially started, I don't know that we really saw the value in it for, other people. Other than, because business developers, it's great.
Yeah.
Because you measure and you do all the stuff we haven't even talked about.
Right.
Which I do that too.
Oh, you've
I've
done
sent
that too?
ones and measured, and I've measured myself because I've had some jobs, like I had a job last year where they put an office building and they were expanding the property. So I measured that, had you guys measure it, and put the bid together and did that. So I've had where they've taken properties away, and I've had you make the template smaller, so there's a lot of stuff that it does. And like I said, I'm sure a lot of stuff I don't know that it does, but I like this kind of stuff. I like making things work, and I like the path of least resistance. Anything that I can do that I can get there and still give the same, or better.
Yeah.
And this is, to me, has made my life easier and been much better in being able to provide my clients and my team information. And I provide it to them once, it's there. If you want to look at it, you go back, it's there. So that's huge.
Very cool.
You're not going through an email, trying to find an email of a photo or,
Yeah.
So.
Thank you, Marilyn. That was awesome.
If you like what you see here, don't forget to click on the bell icon and subscribe to the channel. We post videos every single week.